put on your seatbelt. Let's go.
All right, turn up the music.
Welcome to Scream Queens Horror Road Trip Podcast. I am your co-host, Mr. Josh, and that screaming over there is Miss Justine.
That's screaming over there.
How are you today? How are you enjoying our drive?
So we're driving, guys. Obvi, that's what we do on this podcast, but we're driving to California.
California.
We're going out California way.
Yeah, California way. We are currently on Interstate 40 in Arizona. We are getting closer and closer to Flagstaff. That's not our final destination.
Not at all.
I'm just telling you that because I'm looking at it right now. It's gorgeous, and snow-peaked mountains are ahead of us. I can't wait to get up in those mountains and see some snow.
I believe it's
as we drive.
Pronounced snoo.
Some snow.
Snow-capped mountains.
But guess where we are headed? Tell them, Justine. In case they didn't know already.
Well, we're headed to Disneyland! Woo!
We're going to Disneyland!
Get in the car, honey, we're going to Disney!
We just won the Super Bowl! We're going to Disneyland!
That was...
Right? That's what they always say when they win the Super Bowl. Like, we're going to Disneyland.
That is?
Right? Don't you remember those commercials? They would always be like, now that you won the Super Bowl, what are you going to do? And they're like, we're going to Disney World. Okay, I digress.
Yeah, let's keep
But yeah, we're going
Disneyland.
to Disneyland, and we are covering the Black Cauldron.
Yes, in case you didn't notice when you clicked on the little
the thumbnail. Hey, you might have came
We're
in
doing
blind.
the Black Cauldron.
This might have led in from another episode.
You got let in?
You got led.
Backdoor let in?
Well, we won't discuss that. That's inappropriate right now.
I was not referring to anything
We're
like
still
that.
in
It's
our
a
intro.
PG movie. It's Disney.
We are in our intro. We saved the dirty talk for
later.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're heading to Disneyland, doing the Black Cauldron. If you've seen the Black Cauldron, you know it's one of the scariest pieces of animation ever.
Scariest animation ever.
Eva. It's the Beast animation Eva. Scariest animation Eva.
Beast movie
Eva.
animation Eva.
It's the Beast movie Eva. Anyways, we're just showing off our New Zealand accents.
It's because we're from New Zealand.
That was a little bit more Australian.
I'm so confused.
Anyways, yeah, Black Cauldron.
Black Cauldron.
No, you're supposed to talk all British and proper, like
yeah,
Taryn.
we're from Prydain.
We're going to Prydain.
I'm Prydaining. We're in Prydain.
We have names like Princess Eloise.
I'm Princess Eloise.
I'm Princess Eloise.
I'm going to talk like this through the whole movie.
And then there's a man that just goes, Taryn!
Yes.
Taryn! He's great.
But it's not Gone with the Wind because it's not Terra! Terra!
Yeah, that's right. It's not. We're in a very dark animated movie that brings us witches, demons, goblins, fear of death constantly.
Yes.
A pig is almost sacrificed.
A pig is nearly beheaded. We'll get there.
Dragon chases. Like, this movie's intense.
Clutch my pearls.
Oh, I'm clutching them.
Clutch your own
I'm clutching
pearls.
yours and mine.
Because we're going to dive in. Okay, The Black Cauldron comes out. It's 1985. I've just been born. Honestly, guys, I was born, and then like a couple weeks later, this movie graced theaters.
I was a wee babe, but I remember going and standing in line.
It was highbrow.
And waiting 2 hours for that ticket. And I got up to the counter. I said, yo, give me my ticket.
You said yo?
I was 2. I was precocious. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't see this movie in theaters, but it was one of those movies you would see on Disney Channel. Not even sure I ever, as a kid, watched it all the way through. It would just be like bits and pieces. It would kind of creep you out, then you change the channel.
Yes, because it's got a lot of like just kind of dark, more graphic animation.
Yeah, and our villain is a straight up demon. He has horns, looks like the devil.
He has glowing eyes, and he has skeletal like
scary voice.
It's scary, and there's so much to it. Okay, so it's directed by Ted Berman and Richie Rich.
Yeah.
They had just completed Fox and the Hound, so they were given this, and then nothing after. No, I didn't actually look into that.
This was a huge flop for Disney. They spent a lot of money on the computer animation that's used in several sequences.
It's the first like CGI used in animated movies is in the Black Cauldron.
Yeah, in a feature length. Yeah, because I think Pixar was already making those weird shorts and stuff.
Yeah. But here we are, putting in a whole bunch of money, like $44 million budget.
And you know what they wanted to do with it first? A pig chase. They're like,
chase after this pig here in the movie.
It's a cool sequence. It's thrilling.
Cute.
And it's scary. It's one of the scariest sequences in the movie.
He's all like squealing like
or
a pig.
Or little Hinwin, who's like the cutest little pig on celluloid next to Wilbur from Charlotte's Web.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Can't
hold a candle.
Chased around and gonna get taken away and possibly killed.
Yeah, okay, and all of this is taking place in this world that's been built by novelist Lloyd Alexander. He wrote like 5 books in this series about Prydain. Well, it's like these Welsh myths. I don't know if he's Welsh necessarily, but these are it's Welsh mythology, this world building, and
so
the Black Cauldron is the first 2 novels it borrows from.
So do you know if he collected these old myths and kind of reworked them and put them together and in stories?
Yeah, and kind of just built this entire Prydain.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be in our book club next month.
I know, right? I'll have to figure out he did see it. Lloyd Alexander did see it, and although he said it's doesn't compare at all to the books, and there's really only just it's peppered in, he still liked it for what it was.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, but I was saying, this movie, for the budget it had, it took a lot of time to make, and it did not do well at the box office. I think people were really turned off by...
It was PG. It's the first PG animated feature for Disney.
So the families didn't really show up and show out for this movie, and it didn't do well. And it kind of destroyed Disney animation studios for a while until we got that renaissance when Howard Ashman came along, and you get The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, but this is
Aladdin.
But this is the movie that's kind of responsible for that. They talked about how the 80s at one point, until Little Mermaid, was kind of the dark years of Disney. Things just really weren't working well for Disney. You got The Great Mouse Escape, which I like a lot, but these movies just weren't making a lot of money. Including, I think, Fox and the Hound. Was that a huge hit for them?
Not necessarily. I remember, what was it, Oliver and Company, and
I love Oliver and Company.
I know. They just had a season where things weren't sticking. They were throwing spaghetti at the wall, and it wasn't sticking.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it. We get this narration from John Huston explaining why, the legend of the Black Cauldron, this terrible, awful king dictator guy 2,000-ish years ago who was melted down into the earth, and then a cauldron was made out of him, and so it's evil.
They were talking about he was just so evil there was no way to contain him, really, and the only way they could figure out was to melt him down. What do they say, in cornucopia or something of a crucible of molten rock, and they formed him into this black cauldron. And so his soul, his entity, is stuck in this cauldron.
The evilness is stuck there.
Yes, and it even has a face on the front of the cauldron.
It's a black cauldron with a face on it.
However, whoever possesses it can raise an army of the dead and take over the world.
They call them the Cauldron Born, and you like place a skeleton inside it, and then I guess any dead soldier rises to serve their new master.
Yeah. That sounds like fun. Should we find a black cauldron? The part I wouldn't like would be like all the digging up of the dead bodies.
I feel like you should just have to dig up one, you know, and then like the magic does the rest.
Oh, that's,
you know, or like if maybe it's just the lazy in me, but like I certainly,
Okay.
I'll just do the digging like once. I don't know. I feel like
We'll
digging
take
up a dead
turns.
body is like a big charge, right? Like
yeah, I think
you're not like getting your wrist slapped on that, right?
That's a felony. Anyway,
I don't feel like being felonious right now.
Yeah. So we kind of flash to like 2,000 years later, and we're in medieval Prydain.
Yes, medieval Prydain, and we're in Caer Dolben, like this little village house cottage. Yeah, that's what the word I'm
owned by
looking
the man
for.
Dolben, or is it?
Yeah.
He keeps calling him like Dolben.
Dolben, yeah, he's
like
there.
a ward of Dolben.
Yeah, it's not his daddy, and it's not his daddy.
Yeah, and we're talking about we meet a boy, probably like what, 12 to 14.
Probably like
ish,
young teenager.
named Taran.
And he is the assistant pig keeper. So Dolben and Taran watch over this pig named Henwin. And obviously Taran wants more for himself in his life, and he's kind of just talking openly about his annoyance that he didn't get to participate in the war, but Dolben's like, no, you're lucky you didn't, like, people are hurt in war, so consider yourself.
But Taran, I like Taran, but he can be a little bratty. He's like, I should have been a great warrior of Prydain.
Yeah, like, but for what reason? Like, what have you done? I don't see you out there working around.
He's just a little boy with high hopes,
Big old dreams.
with dreams, and he sees like all the men he admires being warriors, and that's what he wants to be. I don't know why I'm taking up for Taran. Anyway, but Dolben is like, no, I don't know why he's Irish now. He's like, Taran, one day you'll understand this is an important pig.
Yeah, you've got to watch over your pig and like clean it and brush it. And then we see Henwin, and it's like, yeah, of course, like I would want to like hang out with her. She's
like,
precious.
I would just chill with this cool pig for a while.
She has the cutest little eyes.
And we'll learn later that she is oracular.
Oracular pig.
Yeah, we love learning new words, and that was one we learned from watching The Black Cauldron, is that if something is an oracle, they are oracular.
They're oracular. They oraculize things. We learn also about the Horned King and his war that he waged trying to like take over the world, and
yeah, we're getting the exposition. Even Dobbin starts bringing up the Black Cauldron. Well, the only way he could ever take over is if he gets the Black Cauldron.
Yeah. So Taran goes to take care of Henwin. He's like giving her a bath and stuff, and she kind of like freaks out.
And we have no idea why.
Feeling, like, it just comes over her face. And then Dolben's like, come inside. She's freaking out. I must explain to you what's going on. And he tells Taran that she's a visionary pig and she can see into the future. And so he does like this little trance thing on her.
He gets a big wooden bowl, fills it with some like magical water.
And she like puts her little snout in the bowl, and then a vision appears in the water, and it's like what she's seeing, because she's an oracular pig.
She's oracular.
And
does that mean she gives a lot of oral? She's
Oh.
No. I mean like oral advice.
Yeah, like yes, Josh. Like she speaks well, and
she's
not something else
Yeah.
because it's a PG Disney.
Right. What were you thinking?
No, don't look at me like that. Don't you dare. Your face gave so much like oral nastiness.
You're being gross.
Oh, hand up. Hand to God, guys. So, Henwin shows the Horned King coming after the Black Cauldron, and Dolben's like, oh no, he's gonna try to come after Henwin. We've got to save her Taryn, you're going to go on a great journey and go into the forest to find this village to keep her safe. And just like that, Taryn gets his...
Yeah, and it's funny because it wasn't even 5 minutes ago that he was like, one day you'll understand that this pig's important. And he's like, 5 minutes later,
5 minutes later,
here you go.
that's
I'll tell you now. You know what? I just can't wait.
And so now we have like Henwin and Taryn just off on a little adventure in the forest, and Taryn's like, I want to be a great hero, a warrior, and I want to, have lots of celebrations about me.
I want to bed lots of maidens, grab their big jugs.
Go ahead.
Okay, I did.
I'll
stop there. I'll stop there.
Okay.
I just sometimes
how are
think,
you digging yourself out of that one?
Well, sometimes I think I have like a full joke, and I'm like, no, it was just
You
something.
don't.
I don't.
You just wanted to say something
just
about
wanted to
jugs.
say something nasty.
That's all it was.
I usually have to contain myself and censor myself all day long for work. So when I can,
I've just gotta let
it all out.
Okay, so he's there. He's explaining all of the glories that he wants in his life, and he's looking into this like pond and seeing in the reflection what he wants to manifest. And then he looks over, and Henwin's gone. She was like, "Sorry, boy, totally bored with your dreams. Gotta go." She like scampered off, but now he can't find her, and he's looking deeper into the forest, and there's this rustling that's happening. He's like, "What's happening? Henwin, come out! Henwin, I'm Taryn! Henwin!"
Henwin! And then, is this when we get the pig chase?
No, this is when we get Gurgi!
Oh, everyone's favorite little
He's
critter.
like a wild
creature.
little creature. Not quite a monkey, not quite a dog.
Not quite a human.
Kind of like, yeah.
Kind of a mixture of all three. Like a little boy, like a little toddler.
Yeah.
Like a 3-year-old.
3-year-old.
Mixed with a monkey, mixed with like a teddy bear.
Teddy bear or like a puppy dog.
Puppy dog teddy bear.
Walking upright.
A stuffed dog.
Cute.
Puppy.
Like, adorable.
Bear.
Gurgi. He kind of talks
Monkey.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so cute. Oh my gosh.
The munchies and crunchies.
Munchies and crunchies. Oh my god, I love when he says munchings and crunchings.
I do too. Munchings and crunchies.
So yeah, Gurgi pops out and he's like, "Hey there, you've got an apple. I want that apple." But he's talking all like Gurgi does. And Taryn's like, "No, this is my apple," and puts it back in his bra.
Yeah.
And then Gurgi's like digging around in there trying to find, move past the boobies and
His
find
falsies.
Yeah, he pulls out like these socks. He's like, "What are you doing, Taryn?" I get it.
He's like, no judgment, of course. Like,
But Gurgi and Taryn are getting to know each other when there's this squealing that's happening, and Taryn races off, and it's Henwin. She's being chased after these dragon-like looking
what
creatures,
do they call them?
but they called them Gwynthings.
Wind things. Yeah, but they're
Gwynthings.
essentially like maybe a smaller dragon.
Yeah.
But what's funny in this,
Like pterodactyl-y size.
during this chase though, they seem pretty big.
Yeah,
it's not until
they're-
later they're like connected to a wall, and you're like, oh, they're smaller than I thought when they're chasing Henwin.
Yeah, they don't.
But they're very frightening though in this sequence, and you feel like Henwin's life is in peril, and that's a big theme in this movie. Everything is like, we're gonna die, they're gonna kill us. Like, there's so much talk
They're
about
gonna
like,
eat, Henwin. At first,
yeah,
you're
they're
just
gonna
thinking
chop
like they're gonna
Henwin's
eat
head
Henwin.
off. Like, yeah, there's so much. Yeah, they're gonna eat him. They're gonna kill him. Like, everything's about death in this movie. That's the ultimate stakes, and it's what's
Scary.
Yeah,
if you're a child and you're like, "Wait, what? Death?"
Yeah, this movie's definitely gateway horror. It's a movie like if you like this as a kid, you're probably gonna like scary, spooky stuff when
Yeah,
you're
it's
older.
kinder horror.
Kinder horror.
Taryn journeys to get to this dark castle that we will find out is where the Horned King is, because Gurgi's like, "No way, not going in there. Hell no, hell to the no, no, no. Josh is gonna run over a bunch of potholes."
Sorry, we're on like a bumpy stretch of highway now, guys.
But hell to the no, no, no. Gurgi is out. He is not going into the dark castle, so Taryn has to go in alone and sneak inside, sneak past like these henchmen that are all having this party celebration where your favorite scene happens.
Yes, but Taryn's kind of mean to Gurgi at first. He's like, "I knew you weren't a true friend and wouldn't help me." Yeah, but then he goes into like, it's funny, Disney's version of a brothel. There's like this big busty lady dancing around, twirling up. She twirls at one point and you see like full on panties and stuff. It's hilarious, and she's like just
She's
a
busty.
BBW. She is feeling
She's
herself.
got a tambourine.
She's very, sex positive.
Voluptuous. I'd be
I love
on
her. She's kind of my favorite character in the movie.
And she's only in there for like 2 seconds, but it's worth it.
And they call her, well, she doesn't have a name, but they're like, Lovely!
Yeah.
So we just call her Lovely. I'm
She's
going to get a
just lovely.
tattoo of Lovely one day. Just kidding.
Taryn,
But maybe not.
so he gets and sneaks past the big boobied lady.
He's not distracted.
No, he hasn't had too much to drink.
It's like, my balls haven't dropped yet. I'm not into ladies yet.
And he starts like hiding behind these like pillars or whatever. And in walks this green little creature, and people are screaming at him like, Creeper, Creeper. So we gather that his name is Creeper.
Or is he just a creeper?
Or maybe he is just a creeper.
No, I think it's his name. I'm just teasing.
But he comes off like kind of like an Igor.
Yeah, he's definitely like a minion. Like he is.
Yeah.
His master is the Dark Lord.
The Horned King, we get this dramatic like entrance of the Horned King. It kind of reminds me of the entrance of Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty. When she like shows up at the party and she's like, "Oh, I guess my invitation got lost in the mail."
Also, for some reason, mixed with the entrance of the wizard and Fantasia. You know what I'm talking about when the wizard shows up and catches Mickey. It kind of gives me that too, like how he comes in the shadows. But yeah, I would say a mix of those two.
It's super fun, and here comes our like villain of the movie, the Horned King, walking in, and Creeper's like, we found him, we brought what you really wanted. And he's like, bring the oracular pig.
And Taryn's watching this, and because at first he says, bring the prisoner out, right?
Yeah.
And then out kind of comes the pig, and that perks Taryn up. He's like, oh,
it's like
no.
so sad how she like trots in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like so.
And she's like muzzled and has her like little feet all
It's
like
so
chained.
sad.
Yeah.
She is not a criminal.
So Taryn's getting pissed, and he gets so frustrated and angry and scared that he falls.
Yes, because he's like, no, but ends up tumbling down. And
because you know what? They have Henwin on the chopping block.
well,
or no, they're about to. They mentioned killing him.
Yeah, like
Chopping
first
block comes in
Henwin
2
won't like
seconds.
show her visions or whatever, and so they're like, fine, we're gonna get rid of you, and he's like, no, and then he jumps down. He's like, oh yeah, well, that's the Horned King.
He's like, you must be the owner of this oracular pig.
Yeah, so you've got to tell her to show us the visions. And he's also like, no, we're not going to show you our cards. And then the Horned King's like, well, fine, then we're going to kill her. And they put her on this like chopping block, and there's this axe, and
it's raised.
yes,
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
There's poor little Henwin.
There's even like, who's the executioners like there, like ready to go. This is how serious they are about murder and mayhem.
Yeah, they just have the executioner standing by.
And so finally Taryn is convinced, and he's like, come on, and he does the little rhyme that Dolben had also said to get Henwin in her trance. And then she also shows that what is necessary for whatever the Horned King he has to get the Black Cauldron is the main thing. So she's like, here, this is my vision, you're a bitch.
And then Taryn gets spooked by the Horned King because he sees his glowing red face and his like his glowing red eyes.
Yeah, no, he's
and
like
his
totally
skeleton
creeped
face.
out.
That he like throws the magical water in the Horned King's face, and they start running. But,
like the pig and Taryn both like escape, but they kind of have to like weed their way through the castle, and he's able to get Henwin over the side of the castle, and like Henwin just catapults down into the water in the moat area, but he has to stay behind. He gets captured and put inside.
I don't know. Could you ever jump in a moat? Do you know what's in a moat?
I mean, like, isn't it all of their like fecal matter?
It's like their sewer system.
Yeah,
that's one reason that was a way of keeping people out, because they're like, no one's gonna swim across that to get in here.
Yeah, because it's like boo boo and poo poo.
Yeah, it's
TT.
like, just think how nasty the medieval times smelled.
I mean, I've never thought, not once, like, I would love to, like, have lived in medieval times.
It probably smells like mildew.
I feel like every bit of it would have been gross.
Piss and shit. That's what the medieval times smelled like.
Yeah. And
right
like,
there. Mildew, BO, piss and shit.
Mm-hmm, and then, like, nasty menstruation.
Yes. It was just gross.
Like, so gross. All right, if you're still with us after we just settled that.
A sprinkle of dick cheese, too.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what the
Disney.
What the medieval times smelled like.
All right, so we've got... Where are we now? Farts. We've got farts. Oh, okay. So now Taryn is being held prisoner, and he's given up on life. And he's having a pity party for himself when the floorboard, like, moves, and up pops this, like, floating ball. And Princess Elonwy, here to save the day.
And yeah, at first you don't know what these little floating balls are. Like, what is this little glowing ball?
What is this ball?
What is this glowing blue ball?
Face?
Like, it is blue. Someone's got the blue balls.
Who's got balls?
Who's got glowing blue balls?
Stop! Why are you adding blue?
Because it's
Why?
Because he is a little blue ball.
No, it's gold.
One of them is blue.
There's only one.
No, there's another one.
She just has a bubble.
There's Dolly, and then there's like some other...
Dolly is a fairy.
Okay, but...
There's only one floating golden ball. There's no blue. You are
blue.
So... No, it is not.
It is blue. We're
I'm
going to
gonna die on
rewatch it,
this
and
hill.
second part,
Fine.
we're going to tell you who wins.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
She's probably right, but I swear I saw a blue ball.
Well, there's those floating fairies, and they're all different colors, but like the bubble that Elonwy has is just gold.
Well, I know we see a floating blue ball.
You don't see a floating blue.
All right, you win, but we'll check.
It's the fairy. I swear that's what you're talking about.
You're yeah.
Because they go to the fair folk. Yeah. The king of the fair folk. Okay. Back to scheduled programming.
Back to life. Back to reality.
Back to life. Back to reality.
When are we going on the road with our...
Right now.
Okay.
Let's just start it out. Okay. I'm Princess Elonwy. Who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm just Taryn being a little bitch over here crying.
Well, he's scared.
He's not scared. Remember, he even tells her like 2 seconds later, I'm not scared. I'm like a warrior guy.
He's trying to put her at ease.
He's over there crying.
But he's crying because he's far from home. He lost his pig. A horn king he's running from. Now he's trapped in a dungeon. He's a scared little boy.
I don't believe it. How
dare you?
Second.
Boys can cry too, Justine.
No, they shouldn't.
Oh my God! Since when are you so
toughen up?
Norm.
Toughen up. The world is rough.
The world is rough.
Get it together. The horned king is gonna eat your pig, your oracular pig, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. All right? Give up.
No, you get your 5 minutes to cry, then you buck up and you.
Yeah, and you keep going. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
So he's having his 5 minutes to cry, and then he's gonna pull himself up by his bootstraps.
All right, I'll give him that.
And I said bootstraps.
Bootstraps. JK, boys can cry if they want to. Sit over there, Taryn. Have yourself a really good cry. I hope you feel better after. Princess Elonwy was just a little disappointed when you told her you weren't a warrior. She was like, oh, okay, well, you can still come along, I guess.
Yeah, he's like, well, can I really? She's like, I said you could.
I said you could, even though I sounded like, I don't give a shit. Okay.
She's like, my sideburns say you can come too.
My sideburns. She does have those long, bushy, like, bang side things. Yeah.
I mean, they're cute. She rocks them.
She kind of does look like Sleeping Beauty a little bit.
Yeah,
her look.
When she's Briar Rose.
When she, like, in her Briar Rose, clothing, not when she's in her...
Yeah, like a younger
Aurora.
Version. She's probably like Aurora at, like, 14, so 16.
Yeah. She's looking to escape, too, though, and she's telling Taryn that, like, the Horn King abducted me, wanted my bauble, and thought that it would, like, show him what he needed, but... Here we are still.
And now I'm going to get out.
So you can come along, and they go kind of basically like between the walls.
Yeah, they're kind of walking around like the dungeon area,
There's
trying
a burial
to figure
chamber.
out. Yeah, and in there is like a man that's laid to rest, and you can tell it's like like you said, a chamber for someone who's very important.
Yeah,
And-
she kind of gives some exposition of like, this castle once belonged to a great king. That must be his chamber.
And he's laying there, and on top of his casket is a sword. And Taryn's like, I'm just gonna take it. Why not? He doesn't use it anymore. And he even says so
Yes.
to Elanwi when Princess Elanwi's like, "What? Where did you get that?"
Hey, where did you get that?
You sound like her. It's funny.
All right, so Taryn finds a sword, and then Creeper and the minions are off trying to like find him. They're like, he's escaped. Jeez. Okay.
So they're running again.
Creeper's always losing whatever it is that he's supposed to be keeping up with. Honestly.
Yeah.
They lose all of their prisoners.
Yeah. He's bumbling. That's a nice way to put it.
Bumbling.
He's bumbling.
He's bombling while he bumbles.
He bumbles everything. He fumbles and bumbles. And while they're running around the castle, they meet a ballader.
Yes, there's another prisoner being held who
just wandered up there by. Well, he's a traveling musician. He's
Yeah,
like, I
that's
just came to
right.
this castle by mistake. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
know
used
who
to
it
be a
belonged to.
castle.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't know who lived here now. I'm
Sorry.
just trying to play you some songs.
I just thought I'd come here. I'm a minstrel by trade. I love to play a good harp.
And I carry it with me everywhere I go.
And that's about it. So can you let me go?
Sing you a song for a tuppence.
A toppin'. A tuppence. A bag. But while there's like a ruckus going on because they're kind of sounding the alarm that Taryn and Elanwi are gone.
Yes.
So the henchman that's supposed to be like watching over, his name is Flirter Flim.
The Flim
Yeah.
and Flat.
Flirter Flim.
Flirter Flim.
Flirter Flim.
Flirt.
Flirter.
Yeah, he sounds Swedish. Flirter Flim.
But Flirter Flim is hanging out now by himself, and so the two of them walk over and they're trying to get him loose. They get him loose a little bit, and then there's more bad guys that come in, and then there's like a ruckus, and Taryn's having to use his sword.
And it's funny, and the sword like glows, and it's magical, and it helps him out. Like he doesn't even have to know how to wield it; it does
No.
it for him. Even Elanwi's unimpressed later. She's like, "Well, the sword helped us. The sword is magic."
Yes.
He's like, "Cause I'm a great warrior now." She's like, "Well, the sword is magic."
We all saw it. The sword basically wielded itself. You just kind of followed it.
Yeah. Like,
And he uses the sword, and they basically get out. Is the short end of
Yes.
that is that there's a good like 5-minute sequence of them trying to escape and evading, and then they get out. The drawbridge happens, and now everybody that's in the castle is kind of locked in, and they've gotten out, and they're in the forest. And
And
Elanwi is like, "Boy, you ain't nothing but a scrub."
and is this when Flirter Flim says like we need to get to Mulvane, or who tells them they need to go to Mulvane? Is
Just
that-
a little bit.
Oh, I'm jumping
Yeah,
too
be
far
quiet.
ahead.
Back at the castle,
I'm driving. I can't look at the notes, y'all.
Yeah.
She keeps us on track.
Creeper tells the Horn King, like, now Taryn's gotten out. What do? He gets a good choking from his daddy.
Oh, love a good choking from my daddy.
He gets a good choking from his daddy, and then the Horn King's like, no, send the, like,
So
Gwen.
Pedro Pascal shows up.
Oh, if only. If they made the Black Cauldron, like, feature-length live action,
Oh, that'd be cool.
I hope Pedro Pascal is in it, and he plays Taryn. He plays 14-year-old Taryn.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't know who he would
Anyway,
be in it.
we'll
but-
keep going.
Flirter, that's who he
Flirter.
is. Okay, so he's like, send those Gwythaints, the like dragon flying things, like send them to find the group. And I know that Taryn is going after Henwin, so we'll also find the pig. Basically, we'll just let them find each other.
Yeah, we'll get him.
We'll get him. I'm not that worried. He's trying to say like he's not sweating it. But
he's
like,
sweating
he's
it.
back on the bullshit.
He
I'll
knows
tell
he's
you.
got a bumbler
Yeah.
for his minion that's doing all his
Yeah.
work, but he won't fire him and replace him.
No, because like they love each other. It's
I think they secretly
it's a zaddy
do.
daddy, like, you know.
It's twisted.
It's
toxic.
But it works for them, and like, who are we to judge?
Me.
Oh, okay. You Virgo.
Virgo. That's what we do.
Sit over there and just.
But sometimes our
make
judgments
your...
are lovely. Sometimes my judgment is like,
not
they are
saying
wonderful.
But judgments we shouldn't have them, right? We're not supposed to judge each other.
Well, is an opinion a judgment?
Oh.
So, you know
Tread
what I mean?
lightly,
Are
sir.
we not allowed to like or dislike anything?
I guess not. I guess not anymore. It's cancel all that. Gwythens, go look for everybody. We're gonna sit back and relax. And then flirters like singing about their great escape, and Taryn and Elanwi are getting in their first like couples fight where they're talking about gender roles, and like Taryn's
Taryn's a little old school. You're like, Taryn, lighten up. This is year 1000. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
like
Get into the medieval times.
he says
Girls
something like,
can
"You,
kick ass
what do you
too."
know about swords?" And I'm like, well, I'm sure she's seen a sword in her life.
And she's like, well, yours is magic and doing all the work.
Yeah. So it's hardly your sword, sir. And then Gergi reappears, and he's like, hey, I saw Henwin run off this way. There's tracks. And they follow after Gergi.
And at first, no one believes him except for Melanwe. She's like, hey, maybe he's telling the truth. Let's just follow him.
What do we have to lose? There are tracks of something, so.
The Gergi's like, oh, ginger lady. She believed me.
My ears are all popping, and I can see mountains.
Yeah,
and
I almost feel like we're in like Lord of the Rings or the Black Cauldron. We're straight ahead of us are like these huge snow-peaked mountains, and it's just beautiful.
And my ears are popping.
It's the perfect like setting to be talking about this movie, even though there's no snow in that movie. But
No,
it just
but-
kind of, yeah.
It's like Mordor, but on winter vacation. Okay, Gergi tells the group he knows where to find Henwin, and he takes them to this like whirlpool, and they all get sucked in, but it's like a good sucking.
Yeah, they like it.
And they
sucked.
land in this other world where there are like fairies floating around,
And blue balls.
there probably is a blue floating fairy that you have to call a ball.
I swear it was ball, like not just a fairy. Like at one point, it just looked like a floating blue ball.
Okay. So there goes the blue ball. There's like a pink ball and an orange one, and they are actually fairy people.
They're really cute.
And they're cute, and they all have like these baby voices, and they're like, oh my gosh, we've got full-grown people down here. I guess Dolly didn't fix the whirlpool like he was supposed to. It's kind of funny. They treat him like he's the maintenance man.
Yeah,
Like,
and you had mentioned earlier that they all sound like the Lost Boys. Like they have
Yes.
that like, we need a mother type
yeah,
voice.
they
like,
sound like the
"I
Lost
just
Boys from
want
Peter
a
Pan.
mother."
It's
Yeah.
super sweet, but I don't know if it really is, because I feel like 85 or in the 80s is when this happened, and Peter Pan was like in the 60s,
Yeah.
right? So we're a little off, but it was reminiscent, I guess
it
I
could've
should
been in
say.
tribute.
It was in tribute.
It's-
I will go in tribute.
to Peter Pan.
But so they're talking to the little fairy people, and they say, oh yeah, there's this pig that came through too, and they're like, oh, we need that pig, that's our friend. And then Henwin shows up, and then the fairy king shows up, and he's like, yeah, you're here in Fairfolk, and we're just like
And-
sweet, friendly little
And you guys are cool.
little fairies that are willing to help anyone.
And let me tell you where you need to go.
Yeah, you need to go to Morva. You need to
Morva.
go to Morva, and that's where the Black Cauldron is, and we actually know how to take you there,
So let's go.
and
oh,
we can keep Henwin safe and send Henwin home to Dolben.
yeah, Dolly, or no, it's not Dolly. Another one's like, don't worry, we'll keep Henwin safe, because they're all floating up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And Terrence been like, what about Henwin? And they're like, no, we'll need him later to see you guys in a magic cup, so he's got to go home.
Yeah,
now.
he's going home to Dolben. We're gonna throw that in. But Dolly, the little fairy guy who's like yellow, he takes them on these like little twinkling clouds, these sparkly, glittery like clouds, to Morva.
Morva.
And then they land in the marshes of Morva. They are on this like freaking Tolkien journey. It's funny.
Yeah, it's definitely like Joseph Campbell would be proud. It's a hero's journey for sure.
And they are deep in the marshes. There's this cottage, and they find out there are 3 witches that live there: Ordu, Orgok, and Orwyn. And they're kind of funny sisters that play off each other. A little kind of maybe like, what are those? What am I trying to think of? The Three Stooges.
Oh yeah.
But like
the 3 funny crazy guys.
Yeah, but like
poke each other in the eyes and grab each other's penises and pull.
And
like
later,
that.
I think maybe the Oracle sisters from Hercules were modeled after these. Like,
they
witches.
do seem very similar, yeah.
So, and not the muses. I'm not talking about the muses.
Yeah, but the witches.
Yeah,
whose eyeballs pop out, or they share that one eyeball.
In Hercules.
Yeah.
So, anyways, and they've got tons of frogs in their house, and
this one has
Flirter was
big
like,
old titties too. Remember?
one of the sisters has big old titties. Yes, Josh. If you
Oh, who doesn't love like a big animated
well, I was just gonna
breast?
say, like, you love big ass titties.
Big animated titties are hilarious.
Josh's like kink.
I wouldn't go that far. But I think they're funny. I love a big animated titty.
You have them all over your bedroom.
Just framed.
It's your wallpaper
everywhere.
on your TV. Like, it just hangs out. So anyways, the witches are like there with all these frogs, and Flirter's like, oh, these are people. They turn people into frogs and then they eat them. Flirter's like filled with information
knowledge.
and
She's like,
knowledge.
oh no, those aren't just frogs.
You can't just take
that
it for
one was
value.
my pappy.
My daddy's daddy.
My daddy's daddy and my daddy's daddy's
and
daddy.
my daddy's daddy.
They're all frogs.
And the witches kind of chase after them, but then they're like, what do you want? And Taryn's like, well, we're here for the Black Cauldron. And they're like, well, we don't just like give people the Black Cauldron.
We got a barter. We're gonna do an exchange.
So what are you here to trade? And well, Gerke offers up like his apple core, which is super sweet.
And one of the witches is like, okay, grabs it and eats it, but
Flirter offers up his harp, but what they want
is the sword.
Is Taryn's sword.
Because they know it's magic. They saw earlier when all the cauldrons flew out, when they asked for the Black Cauldron, his sword started going crazy and like was chopping up all the cauldrons. So they saw his sword on display and what it could do.
And they were like, you have a very powerful sword. So
and their king is a magic sword.
Yes, your king is
big animated titties.
Big animated titties, and their king is a magic sword. We got that all figured out. So Taryn's like tossing it in his head, like, do I want to get? I want to be a warrior. Like, this is my king. This is be a war. I think I'm misunderstanding what kink is. If everyone's just like walking around with it.
It's my king.
Yeah, that's like my king. That's like what I'm into. Okay. The trade is made, and the witches give them the Black Cauldron, and they get the sword, and then they just start cackling and laughing, and they're like, all right, now we'll tell you about the Black Cauldron now that it's yours. And the thing is the Black Cauldron does nothing but bad things. So in order, like, if somebody turns it on, meaning like puts something dead inside it, then this army's going to
rise up.
And the only way to again kill the army is for someone to sacrifice themselves.
Yes.
They won't come out of it.
Like, you can go in the pot, but you'll never come back out.
And before they get like the full story, Gerge's all like, well, I'll jump into it if that's what it takes. They're like, oh no, you don't come out. And you're like,
is that a little
Gerge.
later? Because doesn't the king get it? The pot?
What?
Isn't that later when the witches are in the clouds and tell them that?
No, this is all that, like, that's all happening.
Oh,
like,
okay.
they've gotten their sword. They go up into the clouds. Like, they have their sword, and they're like, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you about the cauldron. This is how you, like, trigger it and stuff, is you have to sacrifice someone. And Gerge's like, oh, I'll do it. And then they're like, oh, but that person doesn't come back out.
Yes.
So they just go off with their sword, and now they have their cauldron, and Taryn's all upset because, okay, there was like, they didn't know really what they were signing themselves up for with the cauldron. How are they going to keep this cauldron out of the hands of the Horned King when the Horned King is after them?
They won't.
They won't, and like 2 seconds later,
The Horned King gets it.
the Horned King shows up, and the creeper guy is like, oh, what are you guys gonna do?
What are you gonna do about it?
Sacrifice yourself? And like Gurgi like sneaks off. He's like, nope, this isn't for me. I'm gonna slink away again.
Gurgi even says like, terrible things about to happen. I'm leaving.
See you later.
Terrible things about to happen. I'm leaving. Or something like that.
That's so good.
And
Okay.
Andy Serkis, by the way, did, because after I
Yes.
watched this after Lord of the Rings, I used to be like, oh wow, he sounds just like Gollum, or Gollum sounds just like Gurgi. Well, Andy Serkis did use that performance, that voice performance,
It
as
inspired him.
as inspiration.
That's amazing.
Especially the things like the munchies and crunchies,
Munchies,
like sound
yeah,
very Gollum.
Yes, they do. And like Gollum
Smeagol.
even says like, oh, the fishies, how they like swirl, and like he
Yeah.
like shakes his head, and he has little one-liners just like Gurgi does. So I see it, and Andy Serkis has admitted it. There's no debating. It's happening.
It's
Guys,
for
we're
real.
really way up on this mountain right now.
My ears are popping.
And I can see all the snow like still covering it.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to go have a snowball fight?
Oh my god, snowball's
Do you want
fine.
to build a snowman?
Yes, we're pulling
Speaking
over
of
and building a
Disney,
snowman.
We're gonna pull over right now.
Yeah, right on.
Okay. We'll have to pause this. Sorry, guys. We'll have to wait. You'll have to hear the end later. Okay. So, what has now happened is everybody has been abducted and taken back to the castle. The creeper is bringing the big cauldron to his master. The Horned King is so happy, he's elated because he's about to have his army be revived. The cauldron born,
He's cauldron born.
and he
I think I was cauldron born.
really.
That
So
might explain a lot.
you think the Horned King placed the skeletal remains of a warrior into the cauldron, and out you came?
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess there's that then.
I mean, in some universe that's true, because we just said it.
Yeah, that's true. You are cauldron born
I'm
in
cauldron
some
born.
universe.
And you know what? In some universe, you're cauldron born.
I'm cauldron born too.
Yep.
We're all a little cauldron
We're
born
all a little
inside.
cauldron born.
And well, so the army and this is where the horror element that we're like really, I'm not even selling you guys on it. This movie is kinder horror for sure, but this is like traumatizing what happens when the army starts rising up, and all of
It's
these
scary.
skeletal remains, they have this
Hanging skin.
yeah, like this
on
green
them.
mist swirling around, and their skin's like falling off, and their bones are all exposed.
And that's something funny about Disney, a little trivia. If you go back and look, a lot of evil is always shown with green, or like this almost like lime green mist
Yes.
appears. It's in like Lion King, Sleeping Beauty, this movie. More, but like those are the ones that are popping in my head right now. A lot of times Disney will represent like evil with like glowing green. Or,
Glowing green.
yeah, and that's in this movie. Like all the dead are rising and they're like green and glowing, and their skin's falling off, and they're in rags and skeletons, and it's scary. It's horrific. It's part of the horror movie of this.
It's the worst cooler Eva.
It's the beast did mean Eva. Beast rising did mean Eva. Is what they say.
What the hell is wrong with us? We don't know. We're just gonna keep going though. Okay, so the army is rising, and the Horned King is like elated. It's all happening. He's celebrating. Creeper is just so happy he's not getting choked out for 2 seconds. He's getting so much oxygen supply right now.
He's like, thank you, Master,
His
for
O2 levels are on point.
fresh H2O. Oh, that's water.
And yeah,
He probably got fed some water.
fed some water.
Yeah.
Is that you get fed water?
You get drank water.
You
No, you get
drink water.
Yeah,
You
but
get
so-
drank
But
water.
if someone gives you water, do you say, "Oh, they fed me water," or they just gave me
They
water?
gave me water.
Okay.
shit.
I'm overthinking.
You are. Okay, so the army is starting to creep out. There's like, but there's cemetery, like people are raising up from the dead. This zombieism.
Yeah, they're
is
definitely
happening.
they're basically zombies.
And they're just
medieval
trolling
Walking
along.
Dead is happening.
And they're gonna take over all of Prydain and the world. And Taryn and Fluter and Ilonwi, they're all posted up, can't help. But Gurgi sneaks in, he starts undoing everybody and untying them. Undoing? Like, they're all coming undone.
They've come undone.
They just go mad. Gurgi's like, I'll save you guys. And Taryn's like, you guys, you get out of here, okay? Get far away from here. I've got to stop this. And Ilonwi is like, what do you mean? Why? Taryn, don't do that.
No, Taryn.
No, Taryn. We were about to go off and have long French kisses.
We were going to be 14-year-olds and married soon.
I was going to bear your child by the wee age of 15.
By the old age of 15.
By the old... yeah, I was going to have 27 of your children by the time I'm 20. I have a lot of twins. And then Gurgi's like, no, I'll do it. And he jumps into the cauldron. And Taryn's all like, no, this is like totally Mordor. It's totally the Eye of Sauron going on.
It is.
This is Gollum and fucking...
Well, it really shows you that most modern fantasy goes back to Lord of the Rings in some capacity.
Frodo is Taryn.
Yeah.
Taryn is Frodo.
Elonwy is Sam.
Samwise Gamgee?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Because, they're lovers at some point.
For sure. Samwise and Frodo
They're like...
are in the alternate ending Peter Jackson made.
They live
when they
happily
go
ever
back
after.
to the Shire, they just both go back to Frodo's house.
I mean, Frodo's really into Sam. Or Sam is really into Frodo.
Well, no, I argue that like one is just a little bit more emotionally
available.
Just in their everyday. But I bet like they're one of them is like acts of service is their love language.
Yeah, one's like gift
gifts.
giving.
Yes, for sure.
One's
words of affirmation, and the other's like time. That's Sam. Sam like just wants to spend time with you.
Yeah, and he needs the words of affirmation, but he doesn't always get it from
Frodo, and that's why there's times where like he sits there and mopes. He's like, I just want to hear how much you love me, or like how great I am, or that I did something good.
He's like, or at least mushroom stamp me.
Or could you just slap your... Wait. This isn't... We're not talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Let's get back into
how do we
it.
talk
Sorry.
about what's
So
happening?
Gurgi is now inside the cauldron, but all of the army is starting to crumble
They're
again.
dying.
And Creeper's like, oh no, what's happening, sire? They're dying. And yep, the Horn King knows exactly like what the hell is happening. He knows exactly what's going on. The Horn King races over to find Taryn is like clinging to a wall, and all of the stuff is being sucked out of the like area. There's bones, there's skin. The Horned King is trying to like beat Taryn up, and like he gets sucked into the cauldron as well. There's a lot of sucking, I must say.
Sorry, guys, I got a little distracted. My phone just totally rerouted me a different way than we were prepared to go, and now it's turned off.
All right, well, we're almost done talking about the movie.
GPS action. Okay, I'm good.
All right, so the Horned King tries... Josh, are you back in this?
I'm back in this.
Goodness.
Sorry. And this is just what happens when you're road tripping. Sometimes your GPS changes on you. You thought you were going one way, now all of a sudden you're like, what?
Yep, and he started crying over there, and then I had to tend him, and I had to get him a
I didn't know what
towel.
to do. I didn't know what to do.
He didn't know what to do, guys. Okay, so let's circle back to the Horned King starts beating up Taryn, and he gets sucked into the cauldron himself, and he's all like, no, you will not take me. But then his skin gets all pulled off.
And he is like screaming too. He's like, no, you will never take me. Like, it's intense.
But he gets took.
He gets taken.
Yeah, Liam Neeson can't even save him. That's how taken he got. All the way into the cauldron.
He's like, I will not fuck you up if I find you.
I have a special set of skills.
But not
that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Corn King is dead. And everybody is happy. And they won.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Well, and the really cute thing is it ends with them all walking off in the sunset, kind of holding hands.
Not yet. I was just
I thought you were
making
ending
a
the
joke.
movie.
No, because Gurgi's gonna come back.
Oh yeah.
So,
Gurgi's not dead.
Yeah. So but he is. So Taryn and everybody Elongwe and Flirter, they're like, okay, well we won. That's great. Yay! But did we really win? Because we lost Gurgi.
Yeah.
And then the witches come out of the clouds and they're like, hey, you don't need this cauldron anymore. I guess we'll be taking it. And Flirter's like, nah, bitches, you won't, because you'll be bargaining and trading.
This was so smart of Flirter. He saved the day.
Flirter saved Gurgi.
He saved Gurgi and the day. They were going to have a horrible day if Gurgi was really dead.
Well, Taryn's like, I don't want the sword, because they're like, here, you can have the sword again. We'll just take the cauldron. He's like, no, I don't want the sword. I don't want to be a warrior if that means that I gotta drive on these shitty-ass roads in Arizona.
Guys, it's terrible right now where we are.
Golly. Okay, so Taryn's like, no, I don't want the sword. I don't want to be a warrior if that means that Gurgi is in here. I don't want to live in a Predane where Gurgi isn't here, damn it!
We just became best friends in this movie.
We're lovers, actually!
And I don't want to lose him.
So they're like, okay, let's see what we can do. And Gurgi appears out of the cauldron, but he's lifeless.
Yeah,
and the witches go off. They're like, now we're taking the cauldron and we're gone. And at first you're like, oh wait, they just gave him a dead Gurgi.
Yeah, and Taryn told him, still crying,
Longway's like, oh no.
You could have just kept him in the pot.
We didn't need him if he was going to be dead.
I didn't need to see him like this.
This is sad. And I'm Princess Elongwe.
I'm Princess Elongwe.
But all of a sudden, there is a little paw that comes up and it says munchings and crunchings.
Yeah. And they're like, what? He's alive!
Yay! Gurgi's not dead! We love Gurgi! And so they all go off into
hand
the sunset.
Hand
in
the
hand,
sunset.
happy as can be. And then we drop in to Dolben again and we see that
Little Hinwin.
Hinwin is having a vision of them going off into the sunset.
And they're all alive and happy and
Dolben's
well.
like, oh, that's so good. He did such a good job, didn't he, Hinwin?
And they're not on a bumpy highway from hell.
No, their
like
journey isn't going to be shitty right now. Like ours.
It
Like,
had
the
me
road
divert onto a
sucks.
different highway, and now this highway
we're
has
on
the
shit
worst
highway.
road. Highway
Sorry,
17
guys.
near Flagstaff, fix your road.
Okay, well...
But let's tell them what we're excited about for
we
Disney.
are so excited about Disneyland. It's only the second time that I've ever been to Disneyland, and it's our first together.
Doing
it's our
California
first time
Adventure.
To see, anything at California Adventure.
We've been to Disneyland once together.
Back in 2007.
Yeah, it was kind of a bust. We went on a weekend in July, and we both, for some reason, wore jeans, and it was so hot. This fucking road is
It's the worst.
insane. Sorry, guys. I can't. If it's bothering us, it's got to be bothering you. Anyways, it was a terribly hot day. The crowds were insane. We left after 2-3 hours. So this is going to be our let's make up for it trip. We're going to get to do California.
Trip, Eva.
We're going to get to do California Adventure together. I'm looking forward to
going to the Marvel campus.
the Marvel campus, seeing their version of the Star Wars.
Seeing Star Wars
Of
there.
course, their Haunted Mansion, because the Haunted Mansion there is
Yep.
slightly different than the one in Disney World.
And slightly different than the one in Paris.
Yes, I'm really excited to see Mr. Toad's Wild Adventure.
We've never been on.
Yes, I've been on a Disneyland before, but the one at Disney World has closed.
Yes, and
it's
and
no
then
longer there.
It's not there anymore. Now it's just this whole area dedicated to Pooh Bear and
Yeah,
the
the
the 100 acre woods.
Yeah, and then there's also like the symphony thing that I think might have taken over like this old
Friar's Nook area.
Yeah. But so we're gonna get to do a lot of fun things that we love, get to experience some new Disney stuff. And if you've listened to any of our old Disney episodes, you know we're there for the food.
We're gonna have a churro. We're going to have some also just other amazing Disney treats, and we can't wait to tell you all about our 2-day Disneyland adventure.
I'm so excited. So stay tuned. Listen to a little bit of Bad Athletes Scream Queens, our theme song.
And we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Back to the Scream Queen Tour Road Trip Podcast.
We're back in the car, headed home, currently in Texas on I-40, but we had a spectacular time.
It was a whirlwind, it was fast, it was furious. Well, that's all over at Universal, not at
that's
Disney.
Another
No, but it was
movie.
great. We were in and out of California, but we had the most grand time that you could possibly imagine.
And we can't wait to tell you all about it. We'll just jump right in. We arrived there Thursday, and it's in Oceanside, California. That's where my sister lives, so we arrived there.
And let me give you a little update. When we last heard you, or last talked to you, you heard us having some confusion about the route that it was taking us.
Yeah.
It took us on a crazy route. We were going over twisty mountains, snow-capped peaks. It had us on a ride, but we did finally make it to Oceanside, and we had a great evening.
It was a hero's journey to get to my sister's, but we made it to Oceanside, and we saw the ocean, and we jutted off to have ourselves some dinner. We had reservations
at a Michelin star restaurant.
Yes, Dijamara. It was so good.
Oh, it was delicious.
Was spectacular.
I just had like this rice bowl, and it was incredible. It was like a tofu rice bowl, and it was insanely good.
We had the same thing. It was drool worthy. Oh, and we had that like naan-esque kind of bread with the dip sauces.
Chicken skewers. If you're in Oceanside, check it out. It was delicious.
It was amazing.
Very laid back vibe, a lot of art, graffiti in the shop, like in the restaurant.
Yes, giving kind of a Thai-infused flavors.
No need to dress up at all. Just go as is. Enjoy.
Yes. Tell them we sent you.
And we then ended up on Friday having a full day in Oceanside. We saw the Top Gun house. We walked around on the pier and around the ocean front.
Mm-hmm. Had some delicious coffee at Banana Dang.
Yes, Banana Dang. It was good. I think I had the iced banana latte.
With oat milk.
With oat milk, yes, and it was delish.
Fabulosity.
10 out of 10. Would try again.
Have to try again.
And we had some toast there, you know. I think I just had some avocado toast, but it was, again, delectable. Tons of avocado on it.
Yeah, yours had avocado just falling off of it.
It was just falling off, and it was
intense.
good.
I had a cream cheese spread with
honey and chia.
Yeah, chia seeds and then honey. It was good. It was grand. I loved it. What else did we do? Oh, we picked up these delicious treats, these cupcakes that have 2 times won best cupcake on Cupcake Wars. We picked up a couple of those. We had a delicious dinner at Fresco.
It was
Casina.
very food oriented.
Yes.
Friday.
Oh yeah. Experiencing Oceanside was us first just immersing ourselves in flavors and views. That's what you have to do, right?
I had some. What was the name of the restaurant again?
Fresca Casina?
Yes, I had some crab enchiladas that were out of this world.
Yeah.
So much crab stuffed into them.
I I had fish tacos that were so yummy. We're just telling you about all the food because that's how we connect.
Lots of yummy drinks.
Yeah, we went to the rooftop and saw the ocean from the rooftop of one of the hotels.
Yeah, this hotel. Well, I can't remember the name of the hotel. I'm sorry. It has a wonderful rooftop bar.
Yes.
We went there, had just like one drink, saw the view. It was so beautiful. Got there right at sunset.
Picturesque.
Loved it.
But we only had one drink though because we had to get back to my sister's and rest up because the next morning we were waking up at like 5 so that we could get ready and then head to Disney.
And so we could start drinking by 10:30.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, you guys should not be worried at all. We drank to our heart's content and more. But for that first, full day and everything, we kind of kept it pretty tame. We had a couple of cocktails though at dinner.
Yeah. No, we got there just in time. We got there at 7:30. We walked in right at rope drop. It was a beautiful day on Saturday. The weather couldn't have been nicer. It was like, that chilly in the morning where you have like, I had like a button up over my t-shirt, and by the end, you're wrapping it around your waist or whatever. But it was just beautiful, beautiful day on Saturday.
We were at California Adventure, which was the first time for us, like walking in. Every experience was a first time experience. And then on top of it, it was like, wow, this is like a park we've never been to, knowing how much love we have for the Disney parks, and just getting to experience that with you and my sister was so amazing. I just want to point that out and highlight that. It was one of the highlights of my 2023 thus far.
Yeah, it was incredible. And even just like not really knowing the layout, we had a map and our phones and the app, but just being able to like waltz around, kind of experience it brand new with like these kid eyes of like, and also the similarities. There's some of the same rides, but they're all a little different. The seating might be a little different, or the theming is different. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy used to be the Tower of Terror. The Tower of Terror is still at Walt Disney World, but now it's the Guardians of the Galaxy like Breakthrough, I think it's what it's
Mission
called.
Breakout.
Yeah,
and
Mission
then
Breakout.
And then Walt Disney World is building at Epcot its own Guardians of the Galaxy ride, so
I believe it's open now.
They'll have both.
Yes.
Or they have both. Yes. Yeah, it's already open. So they've built that, and it's its own unique ride.
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster, I believe. I can't wait to get back to Epcot so we can do that.
And experience that there. Yay!
And that is the fun thing about Disney. Some people are like, why do you go all the time? It's because every time you go, especially if it's like us, maybe we go once a year, if that, every other year, there's something new every time. And we have still not even begun to like crack the surface of Disney.
There's always catch-up to be played.
There's always something to do, something to eat, something to see.
And we were at California Adventure during their food and wine festival, so we got to experience a lot of yummy treats and eats there because we've done the holiday food and wine at our time at Walt Disney World and Epcot.
And if you're going to Disneyland in the next few weeks, they're doing that only at California Adventure.
Yeah.
So that is the park where you can do the food and wine fest.
Oh, so good. We had some tiramisu churros. They were delicious. We had this like garlic infused mac and cheese.
Oh my gosh, it was like garlic carbonara.
Oh yes, with bacon crumblies oh my god, it was so good. Of course, we had a Mickey-shaped pretzel. You have to have something Mickey-shaped.
Yeah. That's how we that was our first treat of the day. It was like at 10:30. The pretzel and beer cart was open, so we had our first like brew and a pretzel. We were keeping it.
It's just how
that's classic.
Yeah, it's how
pretzel
you vibe.
And beer,
What else? Then we just kind of went around California Adventure, and we would do a ride and then have a drink. And
guys, we were looking high and low for any kind of representation at all the parks for Black Cauldron. It does not exist.
There was nothing.
But if you want to know something terrifying that happened to us, it was our first experience on the Pixar Pier Ferris wheel.
Yeah, I mean, for you, it was terrifying.
I mean, it was fun. I would go again. That's the thing. Like, it wasn't scary enough where I'm like, I'm never doing that again. But just in the moment, it was, I'm having to like focus on the mountains, Josh. because the Ferris wheel like tilts and swings as you're going down.
Yeah, you can choose different lines to go in and do a swinging experience or just a stationary. But I feel like even like on just like a regular Ferris wheel, that's not your vibe. But then throwing in the swinging thing kind of just set you off. You were crying in a corner, and it was so embarrassing.
No, nobody was crying. However, we'll try to get the video up on our Instagram so you guys can see the true face of terror.
Yeah.
Which is me trying to smile
Are you
through.
sure you were crying? You were
I'm
wiping
positive.
away tears.
But I am smiling through the terror.
You
Trying to be like,
were
I'm cool.
terrified.
It was pretty scary. It was pretty terrifying. But that was the scariest thing besides like the Haunted Mansion the next day that we kind of did.
Oh gosh. Oh, but you know what? We loved the Incredicoaster. It was our first experience.
That was so much
The
fun.
Incredibles ride. That's a roller coaster. That's, if you've seen images of Disneyland but haven't been, and you've seen the California Adventure with the Ferris wheel, it's the roller coaster behind it. So fun.
And it's like a genuine, like more of an adult roller coaster. It's not like one of the mountains, you know, it's a little bit more than that. It's up there with like the Rock and Roller Coaster.
Oh, I think it's better.
Hollywood Studios. And I kind of agree with you. Once we got off it, I remember thinking like, oh, I think I like that better than the Rock and Roller Coaster. And,
yeah.
And that one's great too, but there was something about being outside. The weather was perfect. Just
and it would take you in those little tunnel tubes.
you were getting great views.
We went
at the
upside
same
down,
time.
and it would like shoot you off.
That was a great thing about I almost said the Hollywood Studios about California Adventure is that so many rides had great views of the mountains and the vistas in the background, and you know all the parks have just so much great detail everywhere you look. Like the theming is out of this world.
Just the impeccable amount of like detail
Especially,
that goes into designing, imagining, and that's why they call them Imagineers. It's not just the engineering you're doing, but it's all the imagination that's behind it.
You've got to be an artist. You got to be in tune with like that childlike wonder to be an Imagineer. And you got to be like the best of the best. They don't hire any fools at Disney.
No, they don't. They don't suffer any fools at all.
But yeah, I was really impressed with like Cars Land, with Radiator Springs. Like I was saying about the attention to detail, just is everywhere you look.
That ride queue reminded me of the ride queue line at Hollywood Studios for Toy Story, with just like the detail. You know, when you're on that Toy Story Mania ride, it's all about being in that box to open up for Slinky Dog's like roller coaster that you're like building. And there in Radiator Springs, it's just it's Cars Land, you know, everything from Flo's gas station to that ride.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. It's just gorgeous to look at, for sure. And like they have the Avengers Campus, which to me the Avengers Campus has so much potential. They have the Guardians ride, and they have the Web Slinger ride. Yeah, they just need like something else going on in that area, and it seems
a little dry right now. And I know they're going to finesse it up for sure.
We saw all the Marvel guys.
Yeah, there were a lot of Marvel characters. Black Panther, Thor, Loki. We saw Black Widow.
Saw Captain America, Mr. America, as I like to call him.
So we saw a plethora. We even saw was the Dino Co car, right?
Yeah, I got some good pictures of that. And that's another one of my favorite things to do at Disney is just wander around, take great photos, things you want to remember, like little details you want to remember.
Yeah, that just enhance the experience. There were definitely rides that aren't at the same parks. We almost got, to experience some more than others, and we'll get to that when we get into Sunday.
But yeah, we all ultimately loved California Adventure. As we had said maybe in the first part, that was back in the day, like 15 years ago when I lived in California, that was kind of like the park you skip. If you only had really a day or two, you just did Disneyland. You didn't add on the California Adventure. But there's a lot of people, though, who are sentimental for like the old area of California Adventure when it was mainly like that whole Pixar pier area and stuff. But I'm loving the growth that they're having. I feel like we've really missed out on California Adventure over the last few years. And Now we're in the know.
We've filled our cup up of
So
California
for you
Adventure.
Disney geeks out there, if you've been sleeping on California Adventure or Disneyland in general because it's smaller, go. There's so much history, and that gets us to like the next day when we're actually at Disneyland.
Yes, so we get to arrive like early in the morning to the OG park.
And we got there a little later, and it's funny what like a half hour can do. The morning before
Yeah.
we got there like 7:30, walked in, had a really nice quiet walk-in. Got there about like 8:15 this time, and it was already like packed. Had to park a little further away, which is fine. I needed the steps, but it's just funny, yeah, what like half hour, 45 minutes can do at the parks in terms of just getting in.
And maybe it was just a heavier day. What's funny is it was like a more crowded day, but at California Adventure the day before, the weather was just
Gorgeous.
so wonderful. And it was more overcast, drizzly throughout the day until by the end of the night it was just like full on raining at times.
Yeah, just kind of like a constant drizzle starting at like 3 o'clock or so. Just didn't end the rest of the night. But we had a great day. Like, there's no bad day at Disneyland. We got there, we went straight to the Haunted Mansion after, like, taking pictures of, like, walking in and, everything you see, the castle. Then it was off to the Haunted Mansion. That's always kind of a priority for us.
It's definitely top, like, first 2 rides in the park.
And that's one of those rides where the Imagineering really shines. It's like so many animatronics. There you get to see all the details, all the imagination come to life. All the, like, magic and magicianry, is that a word? That comes in the optical illusions.
Yeah, just like the
create.
sleight of hand almost that they're pulling on you constantly, the optical illusions.
Yes. And one that I really think of when I think of the optical illusions on that ride is the ballroom scene when they're dancing. There's like, they're behind the glass.
Yeah, that it's actually.
You, and it's projecting.
Yes.
Yeah, the light shine. Yeah, it's just really cool. Like,
and I
how they
love
come
the
up with
music in the Haunted Mansion ride, just from the spooky and the narrator over it and then full on, like when they get to like the spooks, the graveyard scene, where everybody is singing and you've got the 4 the music men that are carrying the song along as you're taking your ride through the graveyard.
Come out to socialize.
So yeah, Grim Grinning Ghosts is, banger of a song, and it deserves to be just like played on repeat. But it's just like, it just again enhances everything, even the music that's like within the rides, just full immersion.
It is. It's just the best. I love the Haunted Mansion, all the renditions. I love the Disneyland version, the Walt Disney World version. They're very similar. You get an extra story element, I believe, at Disney World with the bride. You have like that whole like bride attic scene, and that kind of takes you through the end. You see her at the end. You do get her at the end of Disneyland when you're walking up, but at the
you get her
end,
in the room though. We go through the room in Disneyland.
and she's holding the axe and stuff.
She's in all of the like paintings and stuff, and the heads would disappear in the paintings of her 4 husbands.
Okay, it's just done differently.
Yeah,
still,
but it's just like slightly different, and they're all slightly different, but they do all have like those stories. I know Disneyland Paris is the most digressive, but we haven't experienced it, so I don't know in what way it is.
Yeah.
And
probably in French.
Yeah, Disneyland Disneyland Paris isn't like the most loved park, but I'd love to go and just experience it.
One day all the parks.
Yes, one day all the parks.
We've done all the North American parks.
We'll find reasons to jaunt over for this podcast, or just to do it, just because. Okay, we also, though, experienced, like, the only ride that I had any previous knowledge of, Matterhorn riding. We did that,
Love
and
the
that was
Matterhorn.
so fun.
It is a fun ride.
And I didn't really remember the rides. I knew it was bobsled, but I was like, I don't really remember what we were doing in there. And they're like, yay, we were kind of running away from a Yeti the whole time.
Yeah. I love how Disney has embraced the Yeti or the Bigfoot.
Yes.
All the mountains are
and
like
they're
Everest.
Frightening. The Matterhorn Yeti is like
Scary.
frightening. There's elements that we were when we went on like the Snow White ride, and it's just so cute, and you can tell it's really old. But there was a part where we were taking like a bin around in the bin, and the evil queen is looking in the mirror,
Yeah,
and then
it's so
she turns
scary.
around, and it's her as the crone, and that's like a super old ride, but that got me, like I was shooketh.
That ride's always kind of been controversial, the history of it, because it is scary. And same with Mr. Toad. It ends with you going to hell.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I love that about Mr.
So
Toad.
much kinder horror was happening at Disneyland.
And we love
the other
J.
day.
Thaddeus Toad Esquire.
Esquire.
He's so cute. He's funny.
And there's
So he's
even
up for an
parts of like the
adventure.
parts of the Caribbean ride, which we didn't ride this go round, but we have ridden previously at Walt Disney World.
Yeah,
that
we-
are spooky.
We kind of had a wild day. Like, we thought it was just going to be a great idea to go ride Splash Mountain, which we love. It's one of our favorite rides. But we didn't realize it's a little different. You sit differently than you do at Walt Disney World. You're not side by side. You're sitting almost like in the toboggan ride where you're behind each other, one behind.
And that already should have like cued us in.
And I swear, the Splash Mountain at Disneyland is way more
Water
Gets
heavy.
you more wet.
It's we were
We
wet.
got completely soaked. And I'm not just kidding about soaked. I mean, like, soaked to the bone.
Yeah.
Socks, underwear, shirt, everything,
Shoes.
like, drenched. Like someone had poured a bucket on top of us.
And we did not have any previous knowledge that the Disneyland riders, the first like 2 to 3, were going to just get completely obliterated.
Because that's not really a thing. Like, you get a little wet, and it's kind of touch or go at Walt Disney World. Sometimes you'll get a little wet. Sometimes you don't get wet at all on that
Yeah,
ride.
but it's never like sometimes you get a lot wet or sometimes you get a little wet.
Oh, and we saw people with ponchos, and we were like, oh, that's a little over the
But
top.
no, but it was
But-
raining all day, so I didn't think
That's true,
anything
too, yeah.
of them being like in the line with ponchos on.
That's
I
true.
didn't think like they're in ponchos because the ride is going to be wet. I just thought it's been a rainy day.
Yeah,
People are in ponchos,
that is true.
and they
They
you
didn't
know what?
warn us.
Yeah, they were probably in ponchos because they wanted to go on that ride, guys.
But you know what? If it was like the day before when it was sunny and it really warmed up in the middle of the day, we would have been fine. We could have walked around for like an hour and been dry. But it was like already a wet, drizzly, cold. Like it was maybe high of like 54 that day.
It was just
Cold. Like we were soaked. We tried to like, okay, let's go eat somewhere. We went to Cafe Orleans. And it was just cold and miserable in there. We were not drying off while we were eating.
my napkin soaked up all of the wet on my clothes. Not all the wet, but like my napkin was completely wet because it had soaked up moisture from my clothes. So we had to take a moment and go back to the car, and all of us had to have a little naked time in my sister's car.
Yeah, we all took turns like changing our clothes down to our underwear.
Yeah.
And such. So.
And luckily, because we had stayed the night, we had an excessive amount of clothing, so we were able to kind of like grab and.
Yeah, I was lucky. I brought like 2 outfits because I was being indecisive. Like, which one am I going to wear? Well, I got to wear both.
Yeah.
So.
And I had done the same. I had brought I had worn something the day before and had brought in 2 outfits, so we got to, thankfully.
Yeah, we were lucky.
Yeah. And I had bought in a sweatshirt, so it was like, okay, because my jacket had been soaked through, so I ended up just putting that sweatshirt on. And you never look out of place wearing Disney gear in
No,
Disney World or
never.
Land.
You
It's
could
not
be.
it's not like when you're at a concert and you're wearing the
Yeah,
band.
don't do that. You don't wear the band.
But like when
jeans
you're
or
at
the band.
Disney, you wear
The concert.
everything Disney all the time.
Yeah, no one will side eye you. You're allowed to like geek it up at Disneyland.
And
or
like
Disney
cosplay it
World.
up. It's like being at a convention.
But yeah, that kind of took a little time out of our day. We had also went and had like a couple drinks in the downtown Disney area.
Yeah, and had done shopping.
Someone took our picture because we were just beautiful.
Mhm. And then they asked us if we wanted to buy it, and we were like, "Oh, so it wasn't because we were beautiful? Damn
Yeah,
it!"
so I
Yes, you
bought
were.
it.
Yeah, so Josh bought it, and he got the digital copy, so then he sent it to us,
Yeah.
my sister and I.
It was
We
cute
had a
then.
lot of fun. Again, like we rode Space Mountain just to bring up like how they're different rides.
That was
so
very different.
all I had known was like Space Mountain, Space Mountain. I didn't know that it wasn't even like, oh, this is a little different. Like the Space Mountain rides were a lot different. The queues were a lot different.
Yeah.
How you sat. It was just all. What I'm trying to get at is like, so you can't just assume because you've been to one park, Disney park, Magic Kingdom, like, where a castle is, that you've been to both.
And that was what, like I was saying earlier, one of the things that was really fun was just all the subtle differences, pointing out all the differences, the different main streets, the different things on Main Street. One thing I really love on Main Street in Disneyland is the Steamboat Willie Theater.
Yes.
Where you just go in and watch some classic Disney tunes. Especially if it's hot or crowded, just pop in, get out for
They
a
even
little
have
bit.
benches that you can like sit on in the air conditioning. I love that you can walk through the castle, but off to the sides, and then you can walk into the castle and go on like a Sleeping Beauty story journey.
And no one knows about it. We were like the only people in there. I had a friend give us that tip to wander through the castle. It's back, you enter back by the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
Yes, and it kind of like entices you to come in. If you listen enough, there's like a voice beckoning you to like walk down into the walkway, because you immediately walk up the stairs inside, and it's an actual castle. You're walking in through the castle. There's a dungeon, and
you look through little windows and see like the whole movie play out in different dioramas, like little miniature dioramas and whatnot, and like
or cutouts in the wall where a scene has been put
or
with
movies,
puppets. And, it's very well imagined, and it's told through different kinds of creative mediums, which I liked. It wasn't just like, oh, it's all just video format. It was, like you said, dioramas or a painting or a mural, something like that.
And it's a really neat way to get people engaged with the castle. You know, at Walt Disney World, the castle's huge, and you can go dine in it, and that's kind of it, but only if you have a reservation.
Yeah.
You can walk through and see the beautiful, like, tile art at Walt Disney World. But this is entirely different.
So different.
And it was... Like I said, it was like a quiet little thing. No one else was really in there with us. And
I loved experiencing that. And, you know, the castles themselves are so different colors, size-wise. But, you know, Walt Disney World, like,
humble.
Cinderella's castle isn't the biggest castle, so we'll just have to go one day all the way over to, I believe it's Shanghai, and go see theirs.
That or Hong Kong, but I believe it's the new one at Shanghai, right?
I think it is Shanghai.
Or is Hong Kong the new one? Which one is the new one?
No, it's Shanghai Disney is the newer one.
Okay.
And then there's Tokyo.
Yes.
Okay, guys. And then, of course, one day we want to go to, like, Aulani, the Hawaiian resort.
They don't have a park in Hawaii, but it's like a big, beautiful resort.
And they do have attractions there. You can also go to the Dole Plantation, sponsored by Disney, because of Dole Whip and stuff. So there are things that you can do.
And the characters are there.
Yeah, you can have experiences.
High quality food like you would get at Disney parks. And
then it's freaking Hawaii.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
I want to go.
And it is a private resort, so you're not having to really deal with it. It's also just Disney culture.
Yes.
So, and they'll have characters. Moana characters have been added since then. Before there was Stitch, and they're still there as well, but just a lot.
Just so you guys know where we are, we're passing Cadillac Ranch outside Amarillo right now.
Throwback.
Yeah, we did an episode there, our Dead Zone episode. I forget, was it like 17? It was way a long time ago.
No, it was Christine. Our episode was the Christine episode.
Oh, you're right, it was Christine.
Here.
Dead Zone was a
we
whole
went
other trip.
down to Fort Worth, and we saw
Dallas,
where JFK got assassinated.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, wrong Stephen King.
And then also, when we were in Disneyland, we almost experienced the Indiana Jones ride, and by almost experienced it, first we went up the out.
Because we swear we walked where the arrow said stand by. No one stopped us. Walked all the way to the end. The guy's like, "Oh, you have your yellow ticket for whatever," and we're like, "No." And he's like, "Well, what are you?" We're like, "We're here standby." And he's like, "Oh, well, you came in the exit. You're gonna have to like turn around, go back all the way out, and take a left." Well, we saw a little shortcut, and we're like, "Oh, we'll just get in the line right here."
Yeah.
But we think we cut into the fast pass lane, and we were going through it so fast, but then it broke down, so it was kind of karma.
Well, I don't want to think that it was in a way, because like all those people didn't deserve our karma.
That's true. You're right.
You know, like I think just the rides broke down, and it was a coincidence. But like we almost rode it,
but we
and we
need to
almost
remember
snuck
that
through.
our karma can have consequences on others.
Oh
shit.
That's heavy. Okay, and then let's see. So that was Sunday, and then yesterday we were I'm trying to think, like at Disneyland, by the end of the night, I mean, we kind of just like done what we wanted to do, gotten soaked wet, we'd gone and changed. We tried to see the fireworks, but it was raining, so they kept getting postponed.
Yeah, we were finally like, all right, let's just...
If it's one thing we've seen
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Disney, it's a fireworks show, so...
And, you know, in my head, too, everything that we missed, it's like an excuse to go back.
Exactly.
Or like, okay, we'll have that experience next time we come back.
It's not a problem to me to leave Disney wanting more and knowing I'll get it. I'll go back.
Exactly.
I don't feel bad about it because I know that there'll be a next time. And then we drove back to my sister's, and the next morning woke up and got on the road to head to Gallup, New Mexico to stay at this historic roadside hotel, restaurant, and bar
On Route 66.
called El Rancho, and it was a damn good old time, people. We will just tell you that right now. It was the cherry on top.
It was the cutest hotel, like completely historic, themed out for all. Okay,
Like,
the story of the hotel was it was kind of like back in the day, in the height of the westerns. Gallup and that area of New Mexico was where they did a lot of filming. So the El Rancho was like a hub for actors. It's where everyone would come and stay. And so each room was themed by an actor that had stayed there before. And ours, we got James Cagney this
yes.
time.
And he was even our shower curtain.
Yeah,
It
he was
had
on our
James
shower
Cagney as our
curtain.
shower curtain. And there were just posters of previous movies. And it even had that Oklahoma, what was the movie?
The Oklahoma Kid with
Yeah,
James Cagney.
but it was in our room, and we're from Oklahoma, and so there we were.
Yeah, we were excited about that. And I hadn't done my research, but I assume that's probably the movie he filmed in that area.
It's Oklahoma
Is what I would
Kid.
guess. But yeah, it was the cutest hotel. It had a bar and a Mexican restaurant connected to it. So we got in kind of like about 8 o'clock. It was perfect because we checked in, immediately went and had some fajitas, had like 3 tequilas, which had us giggling.
We had margaritas, yeah.
Oh yeah, 3 margaritas, and those margaritas were like crack. They had me we were giggling.
Oh
and
my God,
talking,
I'll tell you, he was all
like little
wound up like all
schoolgirls,
night
like,
long.
We were little sorority girls.
He was just chatty Cathy. We're laying in our double beds, you know, at the end of the night, and he's just over there just chatting away. It was the funniest thing.
We were just cracking up.
Yeah.
It was funny.
So that kind of
But-
like was the cherry on top of a wonderful trip, and even though
All
it
good
didn't-
things come to an
yeah,
end.
even though it's all over now, and now we're driving through Amarillo, and it's now just a memory,
Oh, a beautiful memory,
but a memory.
but a memory nonetheless. And by memory, we mean memory. of
Oh, and this
course.
morning when we left, it was snowing. We walked out, and it was a winter fucking wonderland.
That was, and we had no idea. We didn't
No.
see it. There were windows. It was like kind of like right as we were walking out. We're like, it's snowing,
and
it
there's
was
snow everywhere.
big, fluffy snow, and it had already covered the whole town. We were like, oh wow, it's been snowing for
like
a while.
inches and inches and inches.
We went and got some yummy coffee for the road, and then took off. And it never felt dangerous. It hadn't really iced over anything yet. But we lowered our speed about 5-10 miles per hour, and just cruised, enjoyed the snow for like 2-3 hours. It snowed until we got to eastern New Mexico, and then the sun came out.
Yeah, and now it's like
74
degrees in Amarillo, Texas.
So we've been seeing all kinds of terrain and weather, and happy spring, everyone.
Yeah, so now we're back on the road and ready to tell you guys our thoughts, our facts, our favorite scenes of the Black Cauldron.
And like I had mentioned earlier, we kept our eyes peeled for Black
anything.
Cauldron, and that movie just gets no respect at
No
Disney.
love.
No love, no Gurgi anywhere.
Nope.
No Princess Eloise or
I'm
Taran.
Princess Eloise.
Elanwe. Yeah, that's it. I'm Princess Elanwe. Yeah,
But that's fine.
we tried to make it spooky as much as we could. We always
Yes.
embrace all the spooky elements of Disney, all the villains and the haunted mansion like we spoke about.
So that's how we're, that final
Womp
connection.
womp.
Yeah.
No Black Cauldron anything at Disneyland.
But that's okay. It's all right. It was an excuse to get to go to Disneyland nonetheless.
And that's really why we went. We're like, let's go to Disneyland.
yeah.
What movie could we cover? Well, that movie's scary.
And you guys, you know that when the new Haunted Mansion movie comes out, that's just going to be another excuse for us to go to the Disney parks again.
That's right. And which one will it be? Disneyland again? Disney World? Time will only tell.
You know, you'll see. You'll catch us next time. But okay, let's get in. So, tell me, Josh, tell me your thoughts about the movie. Tell me your favorite scene.
Okay, one of the best sequences is the dragon chase of the pig. You know, it was one of their most expensive uses of CGI, and I think they did a good job. It's a really thrilling scene. In just a short, 10, 15 minutes, you've already come to like, oh my God.
Taran?
No,
or
the
Henwin?
Henwin.
Yeah,
I couldn't think
the
of
piggy.
Yeah, the pig. You've already decided that she's adorable, and so seeing her, terrorized by these dragon things that are after her is frightening, especially as a kid.
Yes.
And I think it really sets the scene for how scary this movie is going to get.
Absolutely. And this movie is scary. There are just a lot of instances where people think that they're about to die.
And you know what? And the animators are showing off in some of these scenes, and they do such a great job, especially with some of the really dark stuff that they go for in the movie. And
oh yeah.
It's just sad that, they never were allowed to kind of go there again because this movie was such a failure. Because who knows, maybe we could have eventually gotten, like Ghibli will do every once in a while, and throw out a dark PG-13 animated movie. But I don't think we'll ever get that. Black Cauldron was such a failure for Disney, really hurt them financially that, I don't know how scary they'll go again.
Yeah. I definitely enjoy another area where they kind of showcase just the creepiness and their just animation abilities is all the resurrection of the Cauldron Born at the end after Gurgi has sacrificed himself.
Aww.
And that's so sad. And
sorry guys, we're on the loudest road ever right now.
And you're just you're so upset because the cutest character has sacrificed himself for the greatest good, for the good of everyone. But watching the animation of all of the different just grisly looking skeletons and the Horned King himself is frightening, so just hearing him cackling and having a lot of reverie about what's happening as they're all kind of coming alive, the Cauldron Born, and that name itself is just chilling. I don't like that name, Cauldron Born.
They're not born up in your mama, they're born in that cauldron.
They're
that's just ain't natural.
And that showcase of green that Disney liked to put in order to kind of just make it more ominous or villainous.
Mm-hmm, that classic lime green of Disney. Just showcase evil.
I'm going to showcase your evil.
Oh, I think we do that all the time on this show.
Well, Josh, tell me, you got anything else that you want to tell us about this movie before we give it our Knives ratings?
Not off the top of my head. I think we already mentioned that Andy Serkis uses Gurgi as inspiration for Gollum. Yeah, we've covered a lot on this movie, and if there's anything you guys want to add, let us know, in our comments on Instagram or
definitely,
wherever.
I'm heart sad that there isn't an original song, that there's only kind of a score, even though it is put together by Elmer Bernstein, who did Ghostbusters.
Oh, cool.
So, but it wasn't ever going to get an Academy Award nomination for Best Song because it didn't have a song in it. And that's a Disney classic, is to put just some bangers for hits.
So we're going to do knife ratings, you think, now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 3.5, and some might think that's high. I do like the big swing this movie went for. It might not be the best in terms of its storytelling. It can be a little clunky, but it gets you from point A to point B to point C. And when you're a little kid, you're not really worried about that kind of stuff. It's more on maybe a rewatch as an adult that you get a little picky about story elements. But just in terms of imagination, the darkness, it's really slight. It's an hour and 20 minutes. It flies by.
Which is sad because that was a trimmed down because it was 12 minutes, 14 minutes longer. But the new studio executive, Jeffrey Katzen.
Yeah, probably Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yeah, he just tore it apart. He's super embarrassed by it, and I don't know, he thought it was really creepy and that kids were gonna be scared of it.
And so
And-
just think it could have been even creepier.
yeah, but like,
it's-
you know, it's a real trim 100, like hour 20 minutes, and it probably, you know, could have
probably
stood to have
suffered.
been a little bit longer.
Yeah,
and fleshed out.
Story-wise, it probably suffered a little from that, for
Yeah.
sure. But it's still a fun watch. There's always something interesting on screen. I mean, you get little fairies and blue balls and, you know, cute pigs and a princess and dark knights that look like the devil and funny little sidekick goblins. And,
Yeah.
you know, you get it all.
And, you know, there were many people that put out reviews for it that said that it had a really great base and foundation in those Lloyd Alexander novels and a lot to pull from and to be inspired by. And even him himself thinking like, yeah, I mean, it's not really my story, but it's not a terrible story. Roger Ebert thought that it was pretty good and loved the character of Gurgi and thought that that was like a, you know, great character arc. But I think I'm going to give it the same, Josh. I'm going to give it 3.5 star or
Yay.
3.5 knives.
And then, you know, guys, spread the word. Spread that Black Cauldron love.
Let's all be cauldron born, okay?
I wonder, you know, we've been to Disney at Halloween time and gone to like the Boo to You parade and done all that, but I can't remember if you see anybody from the Black Cauldron during like the Halloween parade. I doubt you see the Horn King walking around.
Yeah, no, he's fucking
He's
frightening.
really scary, so that
But
would
I
be
would love to see
interesting.
Gurgi,
Yeah.
a little sidekicky, or Henwin.
They need to like figure out a way to like redistribute that movie and get it back in the zeitgeist and make
How
some.
can we?
I mean,
Well, I
they
guess
can,
maybe this right here.
they
Let's
can
do
make
it.
some more money off of it. You know, why
yeah.
not?
They at least have made some money off of it recently because I've watched it so much.
Yeah. So
Just to
there you
prepare
go.
for this. All right, what's up next? Where are we going next month, Josh?
Guys, we're heading back west again, but not all the way to California. We're gonna go to Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Santa
And
Fe.
we're gonna, you know, just have a nice weekend in Santa Fe. But our highlight is gonna be the original Meow Wolf, and we're gonna cover Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yes, a Netflix original.
We thought we'd do like a fucked up movie about the art world and go to like a really immersive art installation.
Yeah, some fun fucked up art. Yeah, we
And
like it.
we love the Meow Wolf in Vegas, and this is the original.
Yep.
So
Be exciting
We're
to
really
experience Santa Fe.
yes, lots of great Mexican food, great shopping.
Have some good drinks. There's the
Up in the
brewery.
mountains,
Oh,
yes.
it's just gonna be awesome. So we're looking forward to that.
We hope
And
you are too.
Yeah, you guys rate, review us, please. Give us that 5-star rating. Find us on all the social media platforms. Subscribe.
Yeah, it
Just
really
do
helps
it
us
all.
out if you just go hit that 5-star button. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm not sure it really matters if you're not subscribed. A lot of the apps want you to be subscribed to rate or review.
Yeah.
So subscribe.
Check
Review
us out on YouTube. You know, our blind
Instagram.
spot reactions that we have now,
Yep.
and we'll check you next month with Velvet Buzzsaw. You guys,
Velvet Buzzsaw. Take care.
bye.
Bye.